My 28F husband, 37M, said something really heartbreaking about our son, 5 months, and I really don't know how to approach him about it. We've been together 7 years, married for 3. We always knew early on that we wanted kids, but after trying for so long we found out that we couldn't have kids naturally. We learned he's very sadly infertile. So after having all the tests and trying IVF, we realized the only way to go would be sperm donation, but as I wanted to experience childbirth, we opted for a donor. We were thrilled when I got pregnant, and he was amazing throughout, was amazingly supportive. I had the baby 5 months ago and I've been off on maternity leave. I noticed gradually a change in him. At first, he just seemed a bit distant, but after a while I noticed more things like not sleeping well, being a bit moody, spending a bit more time at work, etc. I've even noticed he's not as keen to have sex as he used to be, which is unlike him because he's always had a great libido. I've asked him from time to time, he said that it's just work being tough or not sleeping well. When he went to work the other day, I asked him if he wanted me to do an update on his PC for when he gets home and he said okay. I turned it on and his browser came up automatically with his email on the page and an open reading pane. Now I'd never ever snoop on him normally, please think that, but it was just there and the email stood out to me because I noticed our son's name in the message. It was an email conversation with his friend. Basically he asked him how my husband's doing and how he's enjoying fatherhood. He basically said he regrets it. He said no matter how much he tries, he just can't not look at our son, doesn't feel like his dad and can see another man and doesn't know if he loves him. His friend was shocked and said why. He thought he was really happy and he said it was ever since someone said he doesn't look like him, it's just been all he sees and sometimes wishes he, husband, just wasn't here. In the last most recent one his buddy said that he would be there for him and to not do anything rash and that he should seek help somehow. I remember the comment he mentioned. It was not long after he was born. A colleague of mine with a fucking big mouth came over to see us. She held out son looking at him saying, husband's name, he doesn't look like you at all, sorry to say. I remember being stunned and sort of saying it was a bit harsh, but he laughed it off and thought he didn't think anything of it. Reddit, I'm absolutely crushed. I feel so bad in so many ways. I feel sad for him that he's feeling like that, but angry that he thinks that way of our little angel. I don't know if I can say that I read the email and want to talk, or just really sit him down and make him open up. To make matters worse, he absolutely loves his daddy. He lights up when he comes in the room and looks after him when he leaves. That's what breaks my heart. What do I do? TLDR, husband has been distant after the birth of our son and I accidentally read in an email it's because he doesn't feel like his dad and is really depressed. I don't know how to bring it up. I've said this on other posts like this, but postpartum in men is actually relatively common, we just don't talk about it as much. Didn't go through it with my first, but I definitely did with my second. Thankfully I was already in therapy and that helped me get through it, but I think that you have to admit to him what you saw and suggest therapy for it. I had terrible PPD, and I am a man. I literally was stumbling around for weeks saying I wish I was dead, I wish the baby was dead, I wouldn't work, I wouldn't talk, I just cried and thought about killing myself. Therapy saved my life completely. We worked on methods of breathing and visualization to bring me back from the brink. From 6 weeks now I have been the full-time caregiver, as my wife returned to work but I work from home. I have managed the feeds, the late nights, the early mornings, and it is all thanks to therapy. Please be open and honest and supporting and loving. Please help him get into therapy. What he's feeling doesn't seem unreasonable. Mothers can have postpartum and not feel like their child is theirs. Fathers can too. And in this case there isn't a genetic connection. He needs therapy or a support group. You have to have a heart-to-heart with him. Pry out what he's feeling. Don't mention the email. Then get him help in a way he's willing to accept. Geez, I read that and all I can really think is how lucky your husband is to have friends he can talk to about things like this. That's not something many men have in their lives. / he doesn't look like you at all, sorry to say. I feel like this one shitty comment planted a seed in his mind that grew into a tree of doubt. and was likely watered by his own insecurities because he's unable to produce offspring himself. There was probably, at some point, the realization that his genetic lineage is done with now. His name will carry on and so will your genetics, but the combination of the two of you moving forward into the future, even after you've long since passed, is not possible. This likely goes deeper than the child simply not looking like him, though that's certainly a place to start. The comment from the person who was adopted and is a father now has a point, but there is a massive distinction in that you carried this baby to term. He was there, presumably through the birthing classes, and went through all the highs and lows of your pregnancy with you, but at the end of the day, genetically, he had no hand in making the child with you. Of course, raising the child is what really counts, but that's going to be a bit more time before there is lessons to be taught and bikes to be learned to ride. I read of similar sentiments from fathers of children born through sperm donation. Unfortunately, I think this is fairly common. It's natural to feel like you want to have your biological children. He probably suffered a lot because of that, thought he got over it but now fell down again. I think he just needs some time to work on his emotions. I know this is hard for you, but it is for him as well. I would suggest supporting him at this time. Try to understand his feeling and please do not undermine them or make him feel like he's a bad person because of this. Just give him the help he needs to heal as soon as possible. I want to add, if you want to understand how he feels, try to understand how you'd feel if you were the one unable to have kids. You got one thanks to a surrogate mother and you heard a comment like that. How would that make you feel? My daughter's friend flirted with me. My wife saw me shut her down but admits she has constant nightmares of me cheating. My wife, 45F, and I, 45M, have a 20-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son. During the birth of my son she suffered urethral sphincter damage that has made it impossible for her to be too far from a bathroom. She also had severe diastasis recti to the point that even now she has pain carrying stuff. Strangers have asked her if she was pregnant and she ended up quitting her job. My wife also suffered tooth decay and her friends even suggested that she look into veneers because the appearance of her teeth have changed. After that ordeal, she told me she was done with sex until there was absolutely 0% chance she could get pregnant, even with unprotected sex. It's been 2 years now and we haven't had any PIV sex. We tried other things but my wife says she gets absolutely no pleasure and only pain. Since my wife has trouble carrying anything, she decided to get a nanny. My daughter has a friend, 21F, who's a senior at the college they attend and said she's done childcare before and needed a job. So we hired her friend Jennifer and she's been taking care of our son. My wife at first was very happy and said our daughter's friend was a pro with our son. However, my wife's friends started saying they noticed that Jennifer was always grooming herself when I was around, which I didn't notice, and would always look at me a certain way. I told them that I didn't notice anything, but if I did I would shoot her down and be open about it. Then my daughter also said that she noticed that Jennifer dressed differently when she came over and was wearing an actual bra underneath her open jacket. I, and my wife too, honestly thought that it was what was in trend because we live in one of the hottest cities in America and everybody always dressed like it was summer and everybody was desensitized to people wearing bikini tops anyway. However, one time when I was sitting, Jennifer came in and started up a conversation and I realized that she was being flirtatious. When I was about to stand up, she brushed her hand near my thigh and I told her firmly that she needed to leave. My wife walked in and saw the whole thing and broke down. Told her I didn't do anything inappropriate and she said she knew. But she barely spoke to me for a week, and then one day when we were at the store and a woman that looked to be in her mid-20s smiled at me, she flipped out and walked out. Yesterday I found her crying in bed and when I asked what was wrong she jabbed a finger in my chest and said that she's noticed for years, basically since after our oldest daughter was 17, that her peers looked like they found me good looking and that women would sometimes talk to me and ignore her. When we were younger my wife was the one who always got attention from other guys, but I always knew I could trust her. I don't really notice people flirting with me and I thought she knew she could trust me too. She admits that she has nightmares of me cheating dating because I'm sexually frustrated. I admit that I wish we had more intimacy, but I only want it with her. She's also very upset because our friend groups are going through a wave of empty nester divorces, and she's seen a lot of her friends struggle to find love, while my buddies, the husbands, immediately started dating women in their 20s and early 30s. How do I assuage her fears and tell her that I'm not that guy? I don't find myself particularly good looking, and I'm not anything but a straightforward guy. Your wife has actual physical things that are wrong with her that are bringing her down. She should look into some kind of physical therapy / medical attention for the diastasis recti, and a second opinion on the urethra damage if you haven't already. If y'all can afford to get her teeth fixed, please do. Not much makes you feel worse than being self-conscious about your smile. Plus bad teeth are only going to get worse. Lastly, I think she should see a therapist if she isn't already. This is a lot of change in a short period of time. Her fears aren't going to be fixed by you, they're internal. It honestly might be worth showing her this post and the responses to it and having a discussion around this. Your wife is extremely insecure, and I'm not sure anything will stop this except for therapy or an awakening. I think you being desperate, not in a bad way, to solve this problem and showing her that there is nothing wrong with her in your eyes will help her remedy this issue. Have you tried being extra romantic with her? Taking her out for a picnic or some shit? Showing her that she really does take the stage in your heart? This might seem a bit left field, but maybe consider a vow renewal ceremony, when circumstances permit. It could be beneficial in that you get to show her you still care enough to want to be with her despite everything, and inflate her self-esteem, and use the views to reassure. Plus she gets the chance to super glam herself if she wants and remind herself that she is still beau today, I fucked up, etc etc. Peas, on mobile, sorry for formatting issues. Edit, spelling. I get how frustrating this whole situation is. I don't blame her and I don't blame you. With what you described, your wife is dealing with a lot, and you are doing a very good job already at being supportive. Do not give up. If you truly love your wife and you're willing to do anything for her, I have no doubt in my mind, you will sit her down and have a very lengthy open-ended discussion with her, talking about reassurance, responsibilities and your commitment to one another no matter what, because regardless of what happens around you, you believe in each other and you are willing to go the distance through it together through thick and thin. Perhaps a little bit of therapy both individually and together can also make a difference. Your wife needs to rediscover her worth. Her confidence took a blow because of everything she has been through. Right now, you need to be a pillar for your wife. Do not break. Please. Good luck. Wife doesn't contribute. Title says it all. She doesn't contribute anything except the absolute bare minimum. Her day consists of waking up, moving from bed to the couch and scrolling Facebook all day. At most, she'll change diapers and get food for the kids. Easy food, like microwavable trash that requires little to no effort. She doesn't work, yet she manages to spend on Amazon on a weekly basis. Her day literally consists of laying on the couch with just enough effort to make sure the kids don't die. Nothing more. I work usually 7 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day. I end up doing everything else on top of that. Dishes, laundry, cleaning, etc. She won't do any of it. It all falls on me. I can't do it anymore. When we started our family, we made a deal. The deal was that until the kids started school, I would make the money, handle bills, outdoor stuff, keeping our car on the road, etc. Stuff like that. Her end was basically being a stay-at-home mom and a homemaker. You know, dishes, laundry, cleaning, with me helping where I could. I never expected her to do it all. I did expect her to maintain our home while I was working so many hours. She 100% agreed to this. It was actually her idea. She said she was willing to wait for the kids to go to school to get a job. Well, it never happened. Everything has fallen on me and I can't balance working so much and keeping the entire home in order by myself. Can't afford to cut back my work hours. For one, I need the overtime pay. It's also pretty much mandatory in my line of work. If I don't go, I get fired, basically. I've tried talking with her, begging, pleading. I've even tried bargaining. Stuff like, hey, I'll buy you this thing you want if you do the dishes. It's causing fights. Screaming matches. Always ends with excuses as to why she can't help. I don't feel good or I didn't have the time today. You didn't have time? What? You haven't put your phone down for 8 hours. That show on Netflix isn't going anywhere. Okay, now I'm just venting. But seriously, I can't do this anymore. I love her. She's the mother of my kids and she is a good mom when she tries. It's just getting her to put in that effort. It's impossible. She says she's not depressed. I've asked if that was the issue. Nope. All I get are the excuses like I said earlier. I'm starting to think she's just lazy. Hate to say that but I don't know what else to think. What the hell can I do? I feel like I'm dealing with a lazy teenager, not a grown woman with 3 kids and a home to keep. I don't want to demonize her. She's a great person. She just has no ambition. For clarity, I'm not expecting her to do it all alone. I've offered to help her on my rare days off and in the morning when I get home. I work nights. She just doesn't do it. So I end up doing it alone.